Hey everyone, last video we looked at the Yamaha Big Bear, got the carburetor situated and everything, found out that it's not getting oil to the head. So in this video we're going to take this side cover off and see if we can come across anything that can be of interest, and probably gonna have to pull the clutch cases, clutch packs out, and go ahead to get into that oil pump. Now, I haven't seen anyone do this on YouTube before. I've seen the Kodiak one and the Warrior one, which is pretty similar. So hopefully it's really similar, and I can help you guys out in the process. All those bolts are 8mm, so let me go get the electric ratchet and we'll start zipping them out. So I was about to take those screws out, the bolts, and remembered something I always do is get a cardboard template, draw out the basic outline of the motor or whatever you're working on. Got your oil line and the electrical line there, dipstick, and punch holes with the screwdriver through where all the bolts are, so they went in that way. Now you're not going to have to, you know, deal with trying to find the right one. I've been there. It sucks. Alright, I got it. After a couple minutes, I found that there's a little tab on the casting there, and you can get a screwdriver in and pry that off the block. Be careful if you do that, because you could break the casting. But I hit it with a mallet a bunch of times, prying on it, couldn't get it, so that's the way I had to resort to doing it. Now you have this shaft here. You're still gonna have to pass it through that shaft, so be mindful of that when you wiggle it out. Ugh, that's some hot oil. Oof. Well, if there are any doubts about what went wrong in this motor, they're shared up now. My God, look at that. The sprocket completely broke off from the oil pump. Completely gone. Laying down in the case. I've never seen that before, and I've worked on a lot of quads, a lot of dirt bikes. So, hoping that this motor didn't run long enough for it to have seized up top. Everything turns over good, it has good compression, but is it good compression, or is it just that bad? You know, or the cylinder wall is that bad? Now, I thought I was going to attribute this damage mostly, and prior to seeing that, to gasket maker being applied, because gasket maker is notorious for blocking oil passageways, but that is quite remarkable. Just came off. Wow. Crazy. So what we got to do now, this has to come off. You're going to need, I think it's like a 27mm socket, and I'm going to have to go buy one of those, because who has a 27mm socket? Also going to take the clutch pack out. This is like your centrifugal clutch that activates the regular clutch pack. I'm not going to replace the plates, I don't think, just because I don't want to put any money into this, seeing that. You know, I'm a little nervous to put any kind of investment into a quad that has no oil pump. If it proves itself and it runs good, then there's a point to be made there that I might put some money into it, but we'll start with the oil pump. So I cleaned up this gear in order to really see the fail point, and it looks like there's no bolt or anything that holds this clearly. So this oil pump has a little it has teeth, basically, a little gear onto where this sprocket goes onto, and it's just pressed on from the factory, and it spun the inside of that, right, and wore it out to where it just fell down into the case, and then there's nothing to pump the oil. So that's a major fail point. We need a recall. So before I go get that socket, doing a little bit of damage control here, just wiping all this out with a rag. Got the brake cleaner. I'm gonna clean all that out, get the oil out of the bottom of the case best I can, and then I'll run a couple changes of motor oil through it, you know, once I get it all put back together, to clean some of this out. A few oil filters, because it's just a disaster. So I went to Lowe's, got myself a 27mm 1/2" impact socket. Of course, got to get that to do the job. It's like $10 just for this socket. I don't really know. I mean, you could probably put something in the teeth of the gears to avoid getting that, but then you risk breaking something, and I'd rather just spend the $10. So then get your impact, and you're gonna get onto this nut here. Make sure you don't have anything holding it on. Doesn't look like I do. Alright, so there's your nut holding on your one-way bearing centrifugal clutch. Set that aside. Now you're gonna look in here, and you have ridges. Alright, you have a beveled out area in your clutch basket where that gear can pass through. So spin this until you get yourself to one of those that you can clear. Still not there. That's one right there. Yeah, it is. I might have gone too far. I think I did. To keep going. Should be one right there. Yeah. It's the one with, it's completely across, the other ones are notched out. So, that's gonna be it. And you wanna obviously put all these back, you know, the same way that they go in. So take pictures of everything. It's also about 20 degrees out today. So nice. Alright. So that entire case comes out. Go ahead and set that on the nice clean asphalt concrete driveway. And there's our oil pump. That's our issue. Alright, so for your Phillips in there, I got myself a nice 2-foot extension on the 3/8 drive, and I am using my 1/4" socket with a, what's the number on this? The PH3 Phillips. I'm using such a long one so I can get a lot of push on it, and you're gonna want to push the you know, the end of your socket wrench in real hard. Make sure you have a good seat, because you do not want to strip these. All right, so that's half of it. Maybe not. I thought that piece came off too. I was confused. Yeah, you got a gasket on there. Alright, for those of you who are interested in how this works, I did just look at it and find out. Mine was seized, so most likely that is why this happened. You know, contaminants or whatever got into the pump, metal shavings from years of use, or it just gave up, and then this shaft seized up, and then the gear stripped right off. So maybe not a faulty gear, but I still don't like how that gear is made. It probably wouldn't have been able to lock up if the gear was made out of metal. But to show you how it works, you pop this off, and there's a keeper pin, right, I'm losing it, right there. And that pin is kind of like a, it's a breakaway to keep stuff from, you know, I guess from keeping the plastic gear from breaking, which seems counterintuitive, but you have the slot in there for that pin, and when you put this and assemble it, you line that pin up, and it goes in like that. So when this shaft turns now, it turns that pin, which turns your gear inside, which pumps your oil. So while I'm waiting on that new oil pump, I'm gonna blow out all of the lines here that I can. So I'm gonna take this one off here. Come on. This Harbor Freight impact is already giving me some issues. Oh, I'm gonna get me a paper towel or something to set these bolts down. Or a towel, that works. Right, well, learned a lesson. The right hole there is where the oil goes out there. So, you know, rest in peace to the white pants. They had some oil stains, so not brokenhearted, but fuck. So, yeah. Well, now we got the oil seeping through the pants. Starting to feel it, which is wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and put this nut back on here so I don't lose said nut if it wants to cooperate. Maybe. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, so I thought doing this job we would have to take the regular clutch pack off, but it's looking like we won't have to, which is great. I'm also finding that there's a pin in here for the gear that must have broke off. But say we put that back on. I'm learning with you guys because there isn't a whole lot on these. Put that back on and put this back in said hole. Now that should grab the gears. Well, right now it's grabbing the gears of that on the clutch pack. I don't know what it's supposed to grab, but I'm sure we'll find out if it fits when we get the new one. This one's a little, you know, popping apart and stuff. Hello, everybody. You joined me on a much warmer day today. Last time we were working on this, it was pretty brutal. So, my new oil pump came in right here. You can see the thickness of the gear is so much better than what was stock. Plus, it it goes through the gear with metal on the new one, and the old one does not. That's plastic. So already an improvement there. Comes with a gasket. I think I paid about $24 for that. Got the big bear jacked up here, and we're gonna try to fit that oil pump right in there and get the ball rolling. So you're gonna need your original bolts or screws, so don't lose those. I'm gonna go ahead and get our gasket and our new oil pump. Should probably put some oil in this first, but you know, I'm not gonna do that. So I don't even know why that one is, the gasket's made for that screw. It's kind of weird, but it looks like this oil pump goes directly on like that. So you have two screws at the top, and your set screw for the pump is at the bottom. I believe we are correct. Just have to turn the pump a little to get the screw holes to line up. Mission success. I had to move the oil pump gear a little bit. It was getting caught up on that, and it was also just a little cockeyed, I guess, with the gasket in there. But solid now. We are in. Just got to put our clutch back on. All right, sorry for the noise. Someone's chopping up a tree next door. Take that nut off and get your clutch thing here. Gotta adjust that so you're on a groove that it'll slide into like before. And now we are it. Perfect. Get this nut back on. And then use that massive 27 millimeter socket that I had to buy for this job. And get this torqued down. Maybe one more. Should be good. It's kind of impossible to get a torque spec on that, you know, because we can't stop it unless you put a screwdriver into the gears. So it's kind of a cheap little nut on there, so I'm kind of scared to torque it down any more than that. But this also rides into that, so it can't come out. All right, time to get the gasket on, which we conveniently have here. Came with the quad. Wonder why. I have this handy old oil can here, and I have it full STP. So just get some on the top, and when it gets hot, it'll work its way in. Now here's the real pain in the ass. We got to get this cover on with the gasket. They don't have any pins to hold the gasket in place, so you can either put it on with some grease and it might stay. I'm going to try to just put it on first without doing that. Make sure you clean your contacts real good. I took a razor blade to mine. There is some silicone left on it, but that's on the top, so should be all right. Ooh, take two. I filled it up with oil, and the bottom of the case cover over here was leaking real bad. So I had to take it all back off and put a thin layer of RTV on both sides of the gasket and put it back on. I propped it up so I didn't lose all that brand new oil I just put in it. So yeah, go ahead and do that. So another thing I can do while I'm waiting on that to dry, today at least, is clean this, what do you want to call it, front fairing up, because someone decided they wanted to make it camo and paint it black, which looks horrible. So I'm going to use the wire and Scotch-Brite with some warm soapy water and see if I can clean that up. So here's our final product. It's starting to rain on me, so I had to cover up the quad. But it came out pretty nice. Much better than it was. So let the rain pass and I'll get back onto that in a few days whenever I have some time. And it's a little less rainy. So catch you then.